Hello everyone, my name is Michael Boucher. I'm a former school board member for the Timberlane Regional School District. I'm also a resident of Atkinson, and I recently participated in the school tours that took place during the month of September. The school tours are being put on by the School Budget Committee, and they are guided by Karl Ingoldsby, who is the Director of Plan Operations for the Timberlane Regional School District. In this video, you'll be able to see me participate in an interview with Karl Ingoldsby, who was able to provide me with the information about all the various different projects that happen within the school district, and also to discuss the future projects and potential future projects that could also take place. The facility tours take place in all school buildings over a span of 3 evenings. With help from fellow Atkinson resident Chris Duerr, we went to these schools to capture footage of the current condition of the buildings and to view the work of recent and current projects. In some buildings, such as at Pollard Elementary and Danville Elementary, renovation work can be observed as different eras in time and visually stand out as you walk through hallways. We also got to experience the unique themes each school have on display to create a welcoming atmosphere for students and staff. For example, at Atkinson Academy, their theme appeared to emphasize personal growth and empathy. Furthermore, we were able to observe some of the spaces which have been specialized for occupational and physical therapy. Coming up is my interview with the Director of Plan Operations, Karl Ingoldsby.
My name is Karl Ingoldsby. I'm the Director of Plan Operations for Timberlane Regional School District. I've been with the district just over 2 years. I'm in the middle of my 3rd year, and I look forward to chatting with you about what we're doing here at Timberlane. The Budget Committee hosts facility tours every fall to let the public know what we've done over the summer and what we're planning to do, and show off some of the work we've done and the conditions of our facilities so that we have an informed public for what they're going to be voting on as far as our budget for the facilities.
What are some of the routine annual maintenance that's done district-wide that affects the budget?
Well, we have lots of routine maintenance that goes on. We have HVAC PMs. We have all the required inspections and testing, such as asbestos monitoring. I have a list of them up here. We have the pack turntable that requires an extensive PM, stage rig and PMs inspections. We have the bleacher inspections, both interior and exterior, as well as the auditorium seating inspections. I have a list of them over here. That's why I'm looking. Fire sprinkler, fire alarm inspections and testings, fire life safety inspections, generator PMs, kitchen hoods have to be inspected every year. They have to be cleaned twice a year. There's quite a bit. So every 5 years we have to replace the fire sprinkler gauges. We have to do internal inspections on the sprinklers. The list goes on.
Can you describe the difference between like the CIP, what CIP is, and also what the lease is that recently got passed?
Sure. So the capital improvement plan is it's a committee that gets together and decides what projects should be put forth and scheduled for over the next, say, 5 or 6 years. Things on that list could range from an HVAC unit being replaced, a boiler being replaced, a roof being replaced, and as part of our budget we have $1.8 million set aside for capital improvements. What we tried to do when I first got here, the district was replacing one HVAC unit or a boiler a year and slowly addressing years of items that need to be addressed. We have over $120 million worth of capital projects that need to be done rather quickly, and the CIP process would take just a little too long. So I brought in a process called that we basically go out to lease, and we have an energy company come in and do audits and tell us the best way to save energy while addressing some of these issues. Putting a propane boiler in instead of the same old oil burner in will save a lot of money, and it's better for the environment to burn propane rather than oil. So they come in, they do an assessment, and they came back and they had a set of priorities that was talked about and discussed at a meeting, and we decided to bring forth a lease project for $25 million, which will be spread over 3 or 4 years, and we started that process this year. A lot of those things are things you won't see because it's on the roof. HVAC units, the roofs themselves getting replaced, boilers getting replaced, so these aren't out in the public eye, and that's why these tours are so important for people to come see what we're actually doing.
Can you kind of go through each of the major, or I shouldn't say go through, but
Sure.
if you could kind of like highlight kind of some of the bigger projects that happen at each building?
Okay, so for this year, as far as the lease project, we were finishing up, well, before the lease project, we're finishing up an ESSER-funded project, which was the replacement of 4 major HVAC units at the middle school. As part of our CIP this year, we're also doing the Atkinson roofs. We replaced 3 of them. Danville boilers, we changed all 3 of those out, consolidated them into 1 boiler room, and changed them from oil to propane. We're also doing the controls up at Danville for the HVAC systems. Middle school, we had planned to do the controls for the middle school HVAC. However, we just couldn't get this job done during the summer, so it's scheduled for next summer. District-wide masonry study. We have several buildings that have masonry walls or CMU walls that are having issues with efflorescence and stuff, so we had a study conducted to figure out what's going on with that. We found out that they are safe. However, there needs to be something done to stabilize them, and we'll be bringing forward what that's going to entail. Sandown and Central electric panels, they are old federal panels, and one of them caught fire just prior to my arrival. So we've been looking at replacing those. Those are going to be done over Christmas vacation this year. As part of the lease, we're changing all the lights in the elementary schools from fluorescent to LED, which will save us a lot of money. In addition to that, they're going to have controls integrated in them that will save money even more by turning off with occupancy, dimming down with daylight sensing, and they'll also have dimmable capabilities to allow teachers to do stuff like that. Another thing is the Atkinson Academy belfry repairs. We just completed a study, and we'll be bringing forward to the CIP the cost of doing that and figuring out where we're going to fit that into to our repairs. The middle school roof was replaced this summer. High school boilers are being replaced right now as we speak. The high school hot water heaters have been replaced. We have fire panels that are up for replacement at Pollard High School, Middle School, and the Danville Elementary. That's probably going to be a next year project. We're still going through code reviews on that. And then Pollard Elementary, all their sprinkler heads are out of date and have to be replaced, so that's going to be probably done next summer as well. Middle school, we're on October 16th, we'll be starting to replace the controls for the middle school LEDs. We will be adding occupancy sensing, daylight sensing, and dimmable capabilities for those LED lights that we've already switched out. That's the EEI ESSER / lease things that we've moved forward with. Projects that we're doing in-house, we're getting ready to replace the flooring at the SAU. High school asbestos tile replacement. We had several areas of the high school and middle school that had cracked and damaged tiles. Unfortunately, there's asbestos in the floor mastic, so we had to abate the damaged ones and replace them with tiles. And then we're going to be moving forward, hopefully, with a plan to do whole buildings, just get rid of the asbestos and abate it all and replace with some sort of a rubber flooring that we no longer have to wax. We have a continued paint cycle that we're doing. We just started that this summer, and we painted a little bit of each building, and we're going to go through and keep that going. Parking lot maintenance we started this summer, where we crack sealed every parking lot, which was a major major project. We're going to be bringing forward some repairs at some of the places that we can, that we're going to have to rip up the pavement and pave new. But the mostly what we're going to be focusing on is maintaining now. So we're going to crack seal every year, not as much as this year, and line striping. So ongoing field work. We started a new program this July where we're going to add top dressing, aeration, frequent aeration, overseeding multiple times, and we're also trying to rebuild the, we did rebuild the practice football field, and we're going to make that also a lacrosse practice field, which will give the main game field more rest. We installed gates to block access behind Danville Elementary and Atkinson. We've put some fencing up beside Danville to allow to keep cars from driving around the gates that we put up. We're looking at putting some fencing behind Danville's playground, and we're putting some backstops up at Sandown North to prevent balls from going into the woods. The PAC auditorium, there's some of the doors there, the building's 22 years old and some of the hardware on it is just worn out, so we're replacing that. We're renovating the track. The track was in need of renovation for years. The coating on it had delaminated to the point where it was just bubbling, so it had to be ripped off, and we need to recoat it. That's in progress. Looks to be complete by the end of track season next year, so we'll be able to hold meets again the following year. The tennis court has been ripped up, and we were hoping to try to get it completed by this fall. Unfortunately, the amount of rain this year has pushed a lot of projects into next year, so it looks like we will have that finished by May of next year. And we've done the PAC turntable repair. We did a PM on the PAC turntable this year, and all the bearings and wheels underneath had to be replaced, so that was done. We had a sprinkler leak underground outside the high school that had been causing pumps to fail and fire alarms to go off intermittently, and we finally found that this summer and repaired that leak. We raised some catch basins on the entry area to the high school and middle school. That was a issue where cars were really getting jerked around when they tried to pull into the high school and middle school, so we raised those culverts up. We repaired the middle school back sidewalk and planted some grass back there. The patio outside had cracks in it. We repaired that. We made an ADA access ramp into the observatory. We repaired, I would say renovated, but we didn't replace any of the fixtures. What we did is we took down all the partitions. We took down all the urinals and got rid of actually some of the urinals to give more room and access to the restrooms in the middle school. We conducted renovations to 3 of them down there. We installed ASD cubbies for autism in 2 classrooms, one at Sandown Central and one at Atkinson Academy. We expanded the middle school IT office. We added a wall to Sandown North, room 144. We repaired a kitchen floor drain at Danville Elementary that was so clogged that the snake got broken off, and we had to actually dig up the floor and rip the drain out to get that out. We repaired a leaking window at the Sandown North Library. It had flashing issues, and we got that fixed. Well, we're replacing the Atkinson Academy and Danville Elementary walk-in freezers. Both of them have failed boxes, so the whole thing really needs to be ripped out and replaced, and that's getting worked on. And we just replaced the SAU's fire panel as it had broken components inside it, and it was time. So yes, we were quite busy this summer.
for the HVACs, the boilers, and the LED upgrades. How much money is the district expected to save? Kind of like a rough estimate.
I don't have those numbers on me. It's, well, the lighting will pay for itself in 5 years, so it's quite a lot. I didn't add that we're also looking into solar, so that's a big thing that we'll be bringing a warrant article, I believe, this year if the board wants to, that I'm pushing for. But I really don't have those numbers on me.
Do you have any specific concerns or repairs in any of these buildings that you're, I don't want to say bad phrasing, but looking forward to in the near future?
I'm always looking forward to upgrading the HVAC. All these units are over 20 years old and could fail at any given time, and if that happens, then we don't have areas of the building that are going to be heated. Case in point, we had a compressor fail on an AC unit this summer. They don't make them anymore because they're 20 plus years old and they don't use that Freon anymore, you know, the RJ12 or whatever they call it. So we have to get by without that now, so until we can replace that unit. So,
do you have any examples, like in any facility that you can think of off the top of your head?
As far as
like repairs that you know they have to be dealt with, like you mentioned the
AHU 3 in the middle school, Sandown North has one that's in rough shape, and we're babying it. The high school boilers was a big one. With that, we had 8 boilers in there, and 4 of them were bad, and then the controller we lost last year, and they don't make the controller for it anymore. So that was a big thing that, since that was passed with the warrant article, that we got moved forward. If we hadn't, we'd be manually running those boilers all winter, and it would have been a nightmare.
What major future projects are being planned within the district?
Well, we've got the continued projects with the leases. We have some of those that are rolling over from this year into next year. We have additional HVAC. Next year, the high school is getting half of a roof and half the HVAC replaced. It's getting the controls for the HVACs upgraded. The year after that, it'll do the other half of the roof and the other half of the HVAC units. I'm looking forward to bringing forward a solar plan to try to get solar into the district. Right now, there's a rebate that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to pass up. If we put a $3 million system out here, we get $900,000 rebate after we pay for it, and then we save more money than the lease will cost. So it's a revenue generating process for us. And then I'm looking at all the other buildings, adding solar to them as well. Roofs at a lot of the building, HVAC pretty much across the district, controls across the district for HVAC. Like right now, I can't see Pollard from here. I can't log onto my system and see what's going on there, so that's going to be one of the things that are addressed. We've got quite a bit. I'm looking at cabinet repairs. Throughout the district, we have cabinets that are 50, 60 years old and just are tired and need to be replaced, so I'm looking at that as well.
Okay.
Siding on the buildings. The front canopy at the high school is in decrepit shape. I'd like to replace that or repair it or get rid of it or something. So we're looking at a lot of things.
What challenges does the district face in order to address future repairs and maintenance?
I would have to say the biggest challenge is the tax rates in some of the towns. It's hard to swallow some of these costs when you're paying high taxes. So I try to be very conscious of that. I try to bring energy efficiency and like the solar, it's going to be paying for itself and then some. So hopefully that's a big selling point for these things. I'm a taxpayer in another district, so I understand what happens when you spend money. So I'm always conscious about trying to save energy and money when we do a project. And I like to do things right, so sometimes they're a little more expensive, but in the long run it saves money.
Are you worried if you're unable to get the funding for those projects? Like, what would happen?
I think the biggest issue would be is if we can't change, if we know we have an HVAC system that's aging, they have a life expectancy. Take for instance Danville. We had a boiler up there that had cracked multiple times. Those boilers controlled one section of the building. There was no redundancy. They just controlled their one area. So when that boiler failed, we had a cold building, no school. That's the impact we have if we don't maintain or upgrade some of the equipment. It's just one of those things. You have to maintain or upgrade equipment on a regular basis. HVAC units last around 20 years. We had a cycle at one of my districts where every 15 years we got a new HVAC unit, so it prevented things from failing, and that's what you try to do, is prevent things from failing to interrupt school.
Do you have any backup, or it's basically we got to fix it, or that's it?
Well, emergency repairs stink because it has to get fixed. We do not have redundancies, and we don't have the space to say, oh, we can shut down this portion of the building because we don't have HVAC. What's great about this district and unique about this district is you do have a capital budget in the budget. Usually we have to go to warrant article, or we have expendable trust funds that are set aside for emergencies, but we can tap off that, which is a blessing. But again, we have plans for that money, and when we spend that money, those things that are planned get pushed out, and that's why you try to get ahead of it and not play catch up.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, is there, I guess, anything else that you wanted to let everyone else know about?
Nope. I thank you for the support in the budget process over the past 2 years. We've been able to increase our budget to get things in that need to be done, and I appreciate the support, and I hope everybody can see the outcomes of what we're trying to do here.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The budget committee hosts these school tours every year, and I've always found that they're a good way to see the current conditions of our schools. And we get to see how our budget is being managed, where majority of the budget is being spent. Karl Ingoldsby, in my opinion, has done a great job informing us of all the different projects that we've had going on within the school district. And I think with this information, you'll be able to make a better and more informed decision when it's time to vote.